Okay, so here we have a trial balance. When you're in an exam, the first thing you should do, no matter what the question is with a trial balance, is just go down the side and classify all of the items. So that's what I'm going to do now, just so you can see an example of it. So the first one we've got, accumulated depreciation. You should know that that's a negative asset. Advertising expense, obviously an expense. Bank, now in this case, it's actually a credit balance. So although normally it would be an asset if it's got a debit balance, this one is actually a liability because it's an overdraft. And it's worth noting that there just so that you don't forget later. Capital, owner's equity obviously. Cartage outwards, expense. Computers, an asset. Cost of sales is cost of goods sold. Creditors control, liability. Debtors control, asset. Discount revenue, revenue obviously. Drawings, negative owner's equity. Freight inwards, costs of goods sold. GST clearing, it's a liability. The loan is a liability. Prepaid rent expense is an asset at the moment. Sales is a revenue. Stock control, asset. Vehicle, asset. And wages is an expense. Now it is worth also looking at the additional information. Usually this is sort of the point where you would need to start reading the question and finding out what you need to do. But for example, in the case of the prepaid rent expense, it does give us some information below saying that the rent expense for the period is $22,600. So because I know that, depending on what I'm doing, whether I have to actually go and put that into ledgers or whether I just need to note that information for preparing my balance sheet, I would probably actually make a note next to the rent expense, the prepaid rent expense. So because $22,600 is the actual expense for the period, I might write that down at the bottom. Put that that's an expense. And then up here, I might just remind myself to take away the $22,600 when I'm preparing my balance sheet. You can do this with other items, but that's just one example that is available in this particular trial balance.